What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome into our second Browns report of the day because the Browns continue to make more moves and we continue to keep you guys up to date. The latest roster moves include the claiming of Jaelon Darden off of waivers after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers cut him earlier this week, and a corresponding move. I was curious what it was going to be. Was Anthony Schwartz placed on IR? And a little bit like, Barry, you cowered a little bit because we all know he's going to get cut most likely if he wasn't placed on IR with a concussion. I don't think Anthony Schwartz is probably actually medically unfit to play for the rest of the season. They had to open up a roster spot, and they decided to make Anthony Schwartz the casualty and stash him and hide him on injured reserve. But Jaelon Darden, like Ian Rappaport pointing out, was claimed by the Browns, and then Cameron Justice, among many other reporters, tweeting out that Anthony Schwartz has been placed on injured reserve. We're going to look at some stats. We're going to break this down a little bit more for you guys. First, I think we should look at the updated depth chart, though, with Jaelon Darden coming in at wide receiver number 5. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of him. I hate to maybe burst anyone's bubble. I don't think they brought him into town because they have a huge need at wide receiver. I think they saw an opportunity to bring a player in who they think could help their football team and probably is better than Anthony Schwartz. Now, with that being said, I do want to invite on a producer here at Chat Sports, and that is Jeffrey Cooperstein. Jeff, waving to the crowd. The reason I'm bringing Jeff on here is because Jaelon Darden went to your alma mater, the great established UNT, University of North Texas, and America's best kept secret, in my opinion, Denton, Texas. Jeff, tell the Dog Pound what Browns fans, if they get to see Darden much at all, can expect from him.
So he's probably going to be more of a punt returner type. I would expect to see him on special teams.
Yeah.
He's pretty electric there as well. He's definitely dynamic. He definitely in college made a lot of plays at that position. He's more of a slot receiver. I know the Browns kind of have a guy already established there, so he probably won't see much time. But he's short, he's really fast, and he's quick. So maybe some behind the line kind of stuff.
You're describing Anthony Schwartz,
exactly.
And that's not what people really want to hear. But Jeff, thank you very much for the inside scoop on what to expect out of the guy out of Denton. So we're going to run through some of his stats, though, because like Jeff pointed out, he is more of a return man, in my opinion. Now, I do want to add this here, though. This is not putting Jerome Ford or Donovan Peoples-Jones' jobs in jeopardy. Jerome Ford is going to stay at kick return, in my opinion, and DPJ, after the Browns' first house call in 7 years, not getting booted away from the punt return position. So Anthony Schwartz, though, half of the story belonging to number 10, getting put on IR, and I'm probably going to wager that's the rest of his season. I just don't see him coming back for the last game or two. It's not like Cleveland will be desperate to get him back or his services. 33 targets, 14 receptions, and 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. I included his rushing touchdown from 2 weeks ago in that. That might be the end of the Anthony Schwartz, I don't know what you want to call it. It's not really an experiment, but at least the Anthony Schwartz time in the land, right? So predict it for me. Will Schwartz make next year's roster? He was a third-round pick that in year 2 was sort of bubble-ish. He was more safe than maybe we thought he would be after a bad preseason. But the way he played this year, unless Andrew Berry is just super stubborn and refuses to move on from one of his day 2 picks after 2 seasons, I'm willing to wager we have seen the last of Anthony Schwartz in Cleveland. Now, let's look at some stats for Jaelon Darden, though. In his career, 14 targets, 8 receptions, 69 yards. That's not really what he's being paid to do. What he's being paid to do is this, his punt return stats. 31 returns this season for 330 yards. That's an average of 10.6. That's a nice boost. I mean, before last week's punt return for that, a touchdown, the Cleveland Browns have been looking for. Now, I still believe DPJ is going to stay at punt return duties, but maybe the Browns are doing some homework for next year, right? Where Jakeem Grant, unfortunately, never played a snap for them this season, was supposed to be the return man for Cleveland. And after that, they were in just full-on limbo rotation, trying to find someone to fill his shoes, and never really found anyone to do it well until DPJ's touchdown last week. So maybe Cleveland's going, you know what? We're still in need of a punt and kick returner. Let's bring Darden in. Let's see what he can do for the last month and a half in practice. Maybe a game snap or two here or there. If we like what we see, we kind of have a head start on next year's return man and have an inside track with Darden. That's kind of the best case scenario I can paint out for Darden and his future with the Browns. Now, if you are looking for a Browns YouTube channel to keep you informed and entertained all year long, this is the channel for you. Please go ahead and subscribe. There's no other channel that's going to be breaking down every single roster move twice a day sometimes, okay? This morning and this afternoon. That's what she said. Hit that big red button and subscribe. All right, let's get to some other injury news right now. So David Njoku, who missed last week's game with the knee injury he sustained in the win over the Bucs, kind of hinting at something on his IG right there, saying back to regular scheduled programming. There is a lot of belief and optimism that the Chief will be ready to go this Sunday. We're going to see Njoku and Deshaun Watson team up for the first time. Now, of course, the last time David Njoku touched the ball, it was for a glorious touchdown to send the Browns into overtime to beat the Bucs. So David Njoku, 41 grabs, 464 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the season. Hopefully we can see those numbers get bigger throughout. Did they even go to overtime? Or I'm kind of spacing on the Browns-Bucs game. I don't think they went to overtime. Browns won in regulation. Did they not? I'm having a big brain fart moment. I need to look it up right now. I did the whole watch party for the game, and now I can't remember. Anywho. Yeah, they went into overtime. What am I kidding right now? I second-guessed myself, Coop. All right, one more time to recap the news. Browns getting Darden off of waivers coming from Tampa Bay after he got cut. And then, as a result, Anthony Schwartz placed on IR, corresponding roster move to open up a spot on the Browns' 53-man roster. And in my opinion, we have probably seen the last of Anthony Schwartz. I think this is sort of a premature cut for number 10, right? Putting him on IR this late in the season probably means they don't see him coming back. Not because he couldn't be on health, he's dealing with a concussion. Not because I don't think he's, physically unable to play for the rest of the year, but because they need a roster spot. And hey, you're hurt. Let's just have you stay hurt for the rest of the season. You see that a lot with teams, sometimes with younger players especially, UDFAs, where they go, we like you. Oh, you're a little nicked up. Let's put you on IR. Let's keep you on our roster, carry you over to next year, and we can see what you can do for us. So that is that. I'm trying to remember who scored in overtime, but now it's just escaping me, so maybe I'll never remember. Was it Nick Chubb? I think it was. Oh, was it Nick Chubb, 3-yard plunge? Whatever. All right. Appreciate everyone for tuning into today's show. Make sure you join us every Thursday, by the way. We go live here on the channel Thursdays, 4 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. If you've never checked out one of our live shows before, make sure you do so. Guaranteed a good time. Hit that big red button and subscribe.